Hello, and welcome to Theater Thursdays. I'm David Alley, and today our special guests are Laura, Rachel, and Savannah. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Great to have you here. Once again, I'm David Alley. I am a senior lecturer in the Department of Theater and also a resident company member with the Clarence Brown Theater for over 20 years. Both the University of Tennessee and the Clarence Brown Theater are located in Knoxville, Tennessee, the native land of the Yuchi and Muskogee Creek people, as well as the Cherokee Nations. So one of the hallmarks of the way we work at the Clarence Brown and the way that the department works with the theater is that we take our students and mix them up and have them work on productions with full professionals. That's part of their training. So we're really lucky to have these three ladies with us today. I'm going to go ahead and let you all introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Laura Clift, and I'm from here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I graduated with a theater degree in December 2017.
Hey, I'm Rachel Clift, and I am based out of Knoxville, Tennessee. I graduated in December 2017 with a theater degree.
Hi, I'm Savannah Smith. I am from Knoxville, Tennessee as well. I also graduated in 2017 with a theater degree.
Super. Well, you three made up our team of assistant stage managers on our production of Around the World in 80 Days, which we've been talking about all month. So before we get into talking about the show itself, there are probably people out there who aren't insiders who don't really know what the job of an assistant stage manager is. So Savannah, could you talk a little bit about what your job is when we're in the rehearsal room?
Yeah, so the first time you actually work on a show, your first position is paperwork, and then you head into the read-through, and then you head into the rehearsal room. And in the rehearsal room, it's just you and the actors and the director and the stage manager and any other assistant stage managers. Other than that, you're bare bones. You have no real props, no real costumes. It's just the actors and their lines and figuring out placement on stage. And your job is to make something if need be. Like there was a sled in the show, and we had to make one out of cardboard, and then when we got to the actual rehearsal space, which is the actual place, which is the Clarence Brown Theater, we had a real thing. So our job was to facilitate all of that until we could get to the theater and get a deck crew.
Super. So once we get in there and we're sort of done with our rehearsals and we start getting into run-throughs and getting notes there, then we come up against the tech rehearsal period. So Laura, do you want to tell us a little bit about what it's like being an assistant stage manager in that process?
Yeah, so in the room, it was just us three doing most of the transitions with DIY props and things. And so once we actually get into the theater with the real stage, real set and everything, and all the elements are being added in, that also includes all the new crew is being added in. So as we're learning how to navigate the real stage and real props and automations, we're also teaching others all the transitions that have been worked out. Everybody's meeting each other. We have the wardrobe crew, the deck crew, lighting, sound. The actors are all meeting the crew. It's a great time, and it's a lot of fun, and it's very stressful.
Well, you guys have a grasp on everything that has to happen at that point. So, so then we get up and we get running. So Rachel, do you want to tell us a little bit about what it's like once the show is up on its feet and we're running in front of an audience every night?
Yeah, so once the show is actually just going for its run, the ASMs are the first in the theater, and they set up the green room, set up the stage, put out the props. And they also, now that they have their deck crew, wardrobe crew to delegate tasks, you're also like overseeing them, trusting them. And by this time you have the entire show memorized. So once curtains up, you run the show and you hand off props, catch props, keep track of actors, shoo them on stage if they need to get on stage. And then you're the last one to leave, and you make sure everyone's out, everyone's safely getting home. And then you get ready to do it all again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Yeah, this we had such a great time on this production, and you all had to have witnessed who knows what going on backstage and behind the scenes. Savannah, how about you talking about your particular job on this production? What were you responsible for backstage?
So backstage, I was responsible for stage right, which meant that one of the big elements was the elephant coming on and off stage. I was basically the ringleader for that. I would lead the elephant on stage, which the elephant was actually 5 people. So there were 5 people inside of the elephant that had to very meticulously walk up a set of stairs, place the elephant into its holdings. It was all poles, so the elephant was a few poles, and then we would like shimmy those in and get them locked, and then we would do the scene, and then we would walk off stage with the elephant. It actually took a lot of synchronization for all of us to be able to work together and get on and off stage. And I have no idea what that scene's about because I was too busy dealing with just the preparation and the wrap up of the elephant itself.
Right, you had a lot to focus on, and from what I understand, it looked amazing from the audience, and you all couldn't be seen, right? You were in black, show blacks, right?
Yeah, so we were in show blacks, so that means from head to toe we were in blacks, and the actual people underneath the elephant had on black face masks so that you couldn't see any part of them. I wasn't in a black face mask because I was just leading everything on and off, but they were completely blacked out from head to toe.
Yeah, not easy to do, especially when it's dark backstage.
Mm-hmm.
Laura, what were your responsibilities for this production?
I was mostly on stage left, and that's nearest the dressing rooms where the wardrobe crew worked. And Kate Cannon was in charge of the wardrobe crew, and they all take care of the costumes, and they would bring out the ones that were going to be needed for a quick change. If like a scene is coming up and an actor is about to run off and become another character, come back on as a different person, which happened many, many times in this show. So I was just kind of a point person for making sure all these things were happening, and they did. The wardrobe crew was fantastic, especially with all the confusing changes in the period clothing. And yeah, it was great, and they were great to work with.
That's good. That made your job easier, I'm sure.
Yes, 100%.
Rachel, what did you do backstage?
Yeah, so this show, we actually had 3 ASMs. So I was an ASM floater, and you know a show has a lot going on if they bring in a third ASM. So I would bounce back and forth between stage left and stage right because the other 2 were the mostly stationary eyes and ears of each of those sides of the stage. And I would go wherever I was needed, and I would take deck crew members if we had a really big scene transition on one side of the stage, and then they would all scatter and go back and get ready for their next thing. One time that had to happen was when we had our automation going, which was also very singular for this show. We had a track in the center of the stage where like the benches would come across or the sled would come across and the actors would be on them. And we had to get the benches unloaded from the track in like under 30 seconds because they only had one set of feed dogs that they had to get across stage slow enough so it wasn't loud, but fast enough so they could load the sled so that the scene that happened right afterwards, actors would be on it and ready to go. So that was something where I had to pull the entire deck crew to lift like 3 benches with 6 people at one time and then cue the feed dogs to go back. And we had to practice that a lot. So
wow, yeah, a lot goes into making just like the elephant to making that theater magic happen, right? So, you know, one of the things we do at the Clarence Brown is we have our students as part of their training work side by side with full professionals in their field. So you guys, as undergraduate students and as undergraduate ASMs, got to work with our fantastic production stage manager, Patrick Lansky. Rachel, what was that like?
Yeah, so working with Patrick, we had worked with him several times by the time of 80 Days, and we worked together as a dream team, he liked to call it. And the amount of trust that he put into us as students is still astounding to me, and it definitely encouraged us to rise to the occasion. And he would advocate for us. He never like made us feel like we weren't up to the task. We would always come to him if we had questions, and he would answer them honestly. And also because of him, I now know how to make the best cup of coffee ever. And groovy is a permanent word in my vocabulary.
There we go. Yeah, the coffee is important. The coffee is groovy. Laura, do you have any favorite memories from working on this production?
Personally, I really loved the time in the rehearsal room where it was just the actors, the director, stage manager, and us. And they were going through the script and just figuring out the tiny, beautiful moments that make theater magic, and all the various physical things they had to learn with acting like you were on the train, and you had to act like you were, on the train or swaying on the boat. And it was just so much fun to come in every day and see everybody come up with brand new shiny moments. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I remember being in the boat train, in the storm, during the storm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Savannah, what's your biggest takeaway from having worked on this show?
I think that all theater instills a sense of community in you. And the really cool part about this show is Rachel and Laura and I all ended up going on to be a part of the Disney College program and traveling around Europe together. And I don't think that would have happened if we hadn't been on this show and built a sense of trust together. And so the community that theater allows you to build is one that sticks with you for life. And so I loved it from Around the World in 80 Days.
Absolutely. It's amazing how we can come together for 8 weeks and be the closest of friends after such a short time. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask this, because it was such a complex show and you guys had so much on you. Any crazy moments that the audience might or might not have seen on stage or off stage?
How much time do we have?
You gotta take this one first.
I'll start this one since it's already been mentioned. Aaron Orlov, you all did a video with him, missed an entrance one night, and he was actually on stage right when he was supposed to go back on. And so I was the one in the back that was going, Aaron, get on stage. And he was like, no, I don't think it's. I was like, no, it is. Go. Your job as an assistant stage manager is to know the show better than anyone else. And I knew better than Aaron in that moment. And I just needed him to trust me. And he finally realized, he was like, oh, you're right, I have to go on stage. And the whole time I'm making eye contact with David Alley right here. And I was like, dude, I'm trying. I'm sorry. And finally Aaron went out there. Yeah, and saved David. And it was great. And it was so fun. And
well, checks in the mail for that. Thank you for getting me up.
Thank you.
You were search and rescue for sure.
Yeah, I had to save another actor on stage from some picture frames that were just falling. They came in and they were supposed to stop and they didn't. And one of our actors was just very mesmerized by these picture frames coming in, almost hitting them. And so it was a preview, so I had to run out on stage with an audience, which was crazy. But that's why you have previews. That's why you have rehearsals. So you can fix things like that.
And it never happened again. We were fine.
Very good.
Good. Then we fixed it and then we opened. So
yeah.
Good.
One thing I love about being together for that long period of time is we all kind of start to have these inside jokes, and you find the little moments during the show where you can bring some levity to your friends. And there's the moment in the show when all the props are being passed across to the burning ship or something, and we were all in the furnace catching the props, and it was weird things like ship's wheels and stuff, but we thought it would be great, and it was. And we all wore sunglasses inside the furnace, and we did our job perfectly, but we had sunglasses, and it brought some joy, I think.
I remember seeing you guys in there wearing those.
Yeah, it was a bit of fun. It was a good laugh, and the audience didn't know. It was just
Another thing that might have gotten away from the audience, because they were not lucky enough to see this, we had our production electrician who is in charge of the lights. And so the lights up in the catwalk and everything. Usually everything goes out without a hitch through the entire show. They just do their rounds. But one show we had an actor come off stage and they said that they could hear something up in the cats. It didn't sound good. We needed someone to go check it out. Well, our production electrician, we found out early in rehearsals, was legitimately terrified of ghosts. And as we know, theaters can be haunted. So I decided to take it upon myself for the weeks of rehearsals to spook her any chance I could get. So by the time that this incident incident happened. She was genuinely terrified of going up in the catwalks, but I had to look at her and be like, we can't go with you. We're in the show. I want to, but we got to make these cues. And they're like, we need you to go up there and we need you to look for ghosts. Kidding, the light. And she did. She was a trooper. She took her little flashlight. She did her rounds. She made sure everything was safe, and she came back down a little shaken up, but she did it. And I'm still proud of her.
Yeah.
Good for her. Good for her. Well, you guys, I got to work on a number of productions with you. You guys were an ace team every single time. Just awesome. Rock stars at what you did backstage. So we appreciate all that you did as undergraduates. We miss you. And I appreciate you guys coming on today and taking a little trip down memory lane today.
Yeah, thank you.
And for the rest of you, this wraps up the January installment of Theater Thursdays, where we have gotten to take a look back at the Clarence Brown's production of Around the World in 80 Days. We look very forward to seeing all of you at the theater very soon.